Thank you, Lorenzo. The next participant is Stephen Meade, CEO and founder at Moneta Pro. Moneta Pro is a B2B fintech platform for the $17 trillion industry of corporate barter or non-cash trading. Stephen.
Thank you, everybody, for sticking around. I'm going to start with an easy question. How many of you like money? Right? All right, that proves we're still awake. Not everybody knows the derivation or the meaning of money, or actually where it came from. Believe it or not, this is the first form of money. And what I mean by that is when the world of commerce started out, it was barter. I've got chickens, you've got milk, let's trade. But there was no portability in that if you had something unequal. The first forms of portable currency were the moneta seashells. That's actually where the word money comes from. And so what our company is called Moneta Pro. And you'll see why. We're a platform for global barter. Very simple. And you might ask yourself, well, I may not have ever heard of it, but how big is the market? Does the market even exist? Well, it's a $17 trillion market of non-cash corporate trading. And you might say, well, if I haven't heard of it, what do these companies trade? It's actually all kinds of global commodities. Cars for computers, machinery for natural resources, airlines for rental cars, hotels for toilet paper, alcohol. Indeed, actually 72% of the Fortune 500 companies do some sort of corporate trade, and the average transaction is over $1 million a year. It's a massive industry. And it works a little bit fragmented. It's all offline. And what I mean by that is if Ford came along and wanted to sell cars for computers and wanted to trade them, it's a very manual process. And what I mean by that is you have to call around, you have to identify a trade partner, you have to find somebody who has equal value. And then you have to track that trade and negotiate it. And it's all done manually. And if there's anything unequal, it's difficult. And if you find an equal trade, every time you're done, you have to repeat that over and over again. You might say, well, if it's so difficult, why don't companies just sell for cash, right? It's just easier. Let's just sell for cash. And there's a reason. There's three primary reasons. Number one, if you're Ford and you've got cars left at the end of the year and you have $1 million worth of cars, one of your options is to discount them, mark them down 20%. The minute you mark it down 20% and sell it, you're paying taxes. In the trade world, you actually trade at full retail. If I can find a partner who will take my cars at $1 million, I get full retail value for that car. Not only that, it improves my cash flow. If I can receive an asset back, $1 million worth of computers, I actually save $1 million in my balance sheet on my cash flow by not spending money. And the third component is actually it's a potentially tax-free transaction. So you get tremendous leverage by doing corporate trade. But what's the solution? Why is it a problem? Well, instead of a one-to-one negotiated, we created what we call a one-to-many. Very simple. Think of it like a glorified Amazon. With our system, you actually list your product, sell it, and what you receive back is something we created called a G-Buck. It stands for a General Business Usage Credit. This is no different than a credit in Amazon. If you got a return in Amazon, you receive a credit, that credit stays in the system. We just gave it a name that we thought was kind of cool. It's called a G-Buck. Now somebody like Ford can sell the asset, receive a credit, and use that credit to buy other things that they want from another party. Tires, batteries, shipping, cargo, machinery. Indeed, we created a one-to-many solution. And the G-Buck, to be clear, is a general business usage credit. It's a ledger credit. It's not a blockchain credit. It's not a token. It's just like an internal refund credit that you might receive in something like Amazon or eBay. So that provides us immediate financial settlement, no volatility in the credit. It equals $1. It's a tremendous financial settlement engine. And for proof of market, there's tons of white papers. IBM has one talking about distributed ledger, the problems with off-bank and off-book transactions. PwC has a 1,200-page white paper with the problems of accounting for intercompany trade and tax. Too many moving parts, manual processes, tie up the resources. These are major consulting firms talking about the problem for Fortune 500 companies. What do? We solve their three main problems. The automation. The Moneta Pro platform is, like I said, it's kind of like a glorified eBay. List assets, sell them, get credits, buy something else. But there's two other major problems. If I'm Ford and I give cars away, I technically don't sell them. I've transferred them, which means my inventory system has not been updated. We're using the blockchain in a very light touch way. We're taking the invoice, writing the blockchain to a ledger where that company now has proof of ownership transfer and proof of an audit trail. So we can solve a problem with blockchain in a light touch way, but it keeps them in compliance, which again saves them potentially millions of dollars in these transactions that are primarily occurring off books. And we're a traditional transaction model. We're just like an eBay, just like an Amazon, we're a transaction fee to the seller. So we put a team together, primarily mostly banking, finance. Gil's got 25 years experience out of Israeli technology platforms. Jay Sato came out of marketing. He launched $3 billion divisions. Robert Jacobson actually brought a guy in as a token relation director. Any of you that have ever had a public company, an IR director, a director of investor relations is a very important position. And we felt the same thing. We created a director of TR. Rick Prendergast coming on sales, built the entire sales force for American Express. Mark Savoy came out of Barter. Igor Barash, our COO, took his first company public on the NASDAQ that he started out of his garage. And then on the advisor, again, we went global corporate. Former head of First Data, former head of MasterCard New Technologies. Michael Turpin on the PR side, many of you guys know. Richard Titus on the side coming out of media. John Sutton, who's here, global international business, food. Food's a massive trade component. Billions of dollars are traded among companies and countries, so we focused on food. Jeff Hazlett, the former CMO of Kodak, and a few others. Where are we? Systems are done. We're in product testing, beta testing. We're upgrading some of the interfaces and graphics. We've got a history of companies we've been talking to, trying to line up for the launch program and industry-specific domain advisors. What's the offer? I think I skipped it. For those of you on the investment side, this is an investment opportunity and a competition. What are we offering? Well, $35 million ICO. We've actually closed 2 rounds so far. We did a private round and a $4 million, what we call a pre-ICO round. Those 2 are done. We are currently in the $10 million round. We're calling this a strategic round. This is more venture capital. This is more corporate venture, more strategic. It's a $10 million round at 50 cents. We'll finish that up at some point with a public $20 million round at 75 cents. We locked the token economics down to 200 million. We can give you the breakdown on that. And then we did something interesting. We think this is kind of cool. We built in a double appreciation bonus. Anybody that invests in Moneta Pro, appreciation number 1, thank you. That's our appreciation. But we looked at it, and would you guys agree crypto is volatile? Oh, if you guys haven't raised your hand, you're not in crypto. Would you guys agree crypto is volatile? Yes, thank you. I should have made you say yes to make us participate. What we did is we said, if you go ahead and invest with us, rather than believing crypto may go up at some point in the future, we're just going to give you an appreciation bonus. If crypto goes up from your point of entry to June 16th, we will give you that accretive value and make it up for you. So we'll carry the risk on the downside, but if your crypto investment does appreciate, we'll carry that upside and recalculate your investment valuation. We didn't want people sitting on the sidelines, but we also didn't want them penalized for any volatility. And then where are we with the token? The token's called a MON, an M-O-N, for money. It's the money token. We thought that was kind of cool. And then we have 2 liquidation options. One, this is the classic, are you a utility or are you a security conundrum? Well, we're both. I don't know where the laws are going to land. We're not trying to play that game. So number 1, if you're a contributor, the Moneta Pro token converts into a G-Buck for $1. So if you contribute at 25 or 50 cents and you want to convert your Moneta Pro token into the market, you can, and we give you $1 worth of credit to spend in the network. And I tell my attorneys are always frustrated. I can guarantee any one of you a rate of return. The attorneys hate when I say that. What I can't guarantee is there's going to be anything in the market for you to spend it on. So the risk is, can we bring in cars and computers and airlines and hotels and things you want to spend your credit on? So you've got a choice to convert into the market if you choose to, or we also have 2, I think we're at 4, we'll probably have 5 or 6 exchanges that we'll go out on with the Moneta Pro token. $35 million round, 10 million is where we are now, 50 cents per token, 6-month hold for accredited investors, give us time. And then the milestones, we're almost done. Like I said, we're trying to coordinate the $10 million round with the launch of the pilot, which will move us into customer mode. That will coordinate with the $20 million public round. So I think we can match our news cycles up and have some good news there. And then in finishing up, I want to thank all of you for sticking around for this at the end of the day. We created something called a corporate benevolence program. The way the IRS works is if you're left with a value and a barter exchange at the end of the year, if you're a company that has 10 or 20 or $30 million left, you're potentially taxed. We created a benevolence program. We're going to try and encourage companies to shift those credits out to nonprofits, charities, and foundations. We believe that not only will shift their liability out, reduce their tax exposure, they'll get a double bonus by investing in nonprofits, and we think we could potentially shift billions of dollars of corporate resources out into the philanthropic world in a very, very unique way. Last slide. We've been fortunate. We've won a couple of the contests here. We've won in Finland, or not Finland, we won in Zurich, we've won in LA. On a good road show. I'm Stephen Meade with Moneta Pro. If you guys have questions, please let me know. Thank you.